Well, joining me now from Salford is the Deputy Leader of UKIP, Paul Nuttall. And a very good morning.
Good morning
to you. Thanks for your time this morning. It's Nigel Farage's birthday today, isn't it? Is he feeling buoyed up by last night's performance?
Well, he should be. In all of the polls, he's finished in the top three. In the YouGov poll, he finished only second to Nicola Sturgeon, but Nicola Sturgeon had quite an easy job considering that you can make these populist arguments when you're spending other people's money, namely the English. But equally, in these polls, Nigel Farage did particularly well on honesty. He came out as the most honest, and equally on policy. The polls made it clear that UKIP have the best policy, so all round a pretty good night for UKIP. Was
it always his intention to very much appeal to the party's core voters? Because he didn't seem to broaden things out too much on policy, did he? For example, he talked very much about EU and immigration, bringing everything back to that.
Well, you know, if you're focusing on immigration, the fact is that if it affects everything. It affects the NHS, it affects transport, it affects housing. And, you know, at the moment, last year, we had 298,000 people come to this country net, which is a city the size of Hull. We believe that's bad for the economy. We believe it's bad for social cohesion. And what we would like to see is an Australian points-based system which would reduce immigration to normality where it was before the year 2000. And 50 years previous, which was running in between 30,000 and 50,000 a year net.
Don't you think, though, that perhaps he missed an opportunity to talk more about other policies, to offer a more nuanced vision of what UKIP is about?
Well, I think he did talk about other policies. He spoke about how we want to put £3 billion more into the National Health Service. He spoke about how we want to build on brownfield sites rather than green fields. But, you know, I still go back to the fact that the European Union does basically infect this country, and it works in a way that affects everyone's lives, whether it's down to immigration, whether it's down to paying £55 million every single day, or the fact in this election, which no one's talking about, which is that 70% of our laws aren't made at Westminster anymore, they're actually made in Brussels.
And you think UKIP's vision of a partnership, a different partnership with Europe, could get rid of those issues?
Well, look, we don't believe that the European Union can be reformed. David Cameron is talking about a referendum after renegotiation. He's already been told by the leaders of the European Union that the big issue, which is freedom of movement of people, isn't on the table in that renegotiation. We don't want to see a different relationship in that sense within the European Union. We want to leave altogether and make Britain a freer, more democratic and richer nation.
I want to pick up with you also on those comments from last night made by Mr Farage about people with HIV coming from abroad for treatment on the NHS. Leanne Wood accusing him of scaremongering, Mr Farage saying it's a fact, it's a fact, it's a fact. How many people?
Well, in 2013, there were around 6,500 new cases of HIV in this country. The majority were foreigners, and that was the case the year before and the year before that as well. Look, the simple fact...
Recent migrants to the UK?
Recent migrants to the UK, in fact, they were sub-Saharan, you know, so they were coming from Africa. Australia and Canada have a system whereby you can't enter the country if you've got HIV or AIDS. I think it makes no sense whatsoever to be bringing people into this country who have dangerous diseases. And look,
is UKIP going to provide more detail on that breakdown? Because if you make a statement like that, it's got to be backed up by evidence and facts, doesn't it?
Well, it is. In 2013, there were 6,500 new cases of HIV. The majority were from people who weren't born in this country and recent migrants into this country. So what we're saying is, as the retroviral drugs are costing £25,000 per year, we estimate that in that year alone, 2013, it cost the NHS somewhere to the tune of £100 million, and we're saying that in effect, it was only cost £200 million to do away with hospital car parking altogether. Wouldn't it make more sense to spend that money doing away, which is in effect a tax on illness? And as I say, the Australians and the Canadians have a system like this, and no one would ever accuse those countries of being inhumane.
OK, Paul Nuttall, Deputy Leader of UKIP, thank you very much.
Thank you.